Good Erev Shabbos, Parshas Korach. You know, when we get to Parshas Korach, and every single year, and we have the opportunity to be able to hear about this individual. You know, sometimes we can find ourselves falling into this pattern of thinking, he was a Korach, he was a Baal Gaiva, and we try, in our mind we start picturing, that guy, that you may have seen getting up in a public setting and speaking, or that guy in the office who is always full of himself, and he's always, a big Baal Gaiva, he's just thinking about his ego, he doesn't care about anybody else, and he's just trying to get the boss fired so he can take over the position. I don't know if you have any of these people in your lives, but sometimes we can think and imagine that's what Korach was. The truth is that, as we find in the Svarim explain, the Svarim explain that we can't say such a thing about Korach. Korach, the Parsha is named after him. Korach was a great person. He was a great person. As I saw brought down that he was Roy to become the Levi Agadol. It's just like we had the Kohen Agadol, right? The Kohen Gadol, Aaron HaKohen. The Levi Agadol. He wasn't just another Yid. He wasn't just another Jew. So what happened to Korach? What happened to him? So I still remember this Torah stuck with me, even though I haven't seen it in many, many years. I saw in the Divrei Chizuk, right, from Tzvi Meyer, that he explained that if you were to go over to Korach, you were to ask Korach, what are you doing? What's motivating you right now? Be'emes ba'amitai, if you sat with him, and once again you're sitting over here with somebody who is a leader of the Jewish people, he would say, I am doing this for the klal. I care about the Jewish people. I care about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I care about the Torah. I'm doing this l'shem shamayim. He be'emes believed he was doing it l'shem shamayim. And the energy, the vibe you would get from him is, I'm doing this l'shem shamayim. But Tzvi Meyer points out, and it's scary on some level to think about this. The Torah to tell us that inside of all that l'shem shamayim, there was this motivation over there, right, which wasn't clean. It wasn't clean. There was some issue, some unresolved issue, right, with Moshe Rabbeinu, right? It's megala to us, right, that he felt that maybe that he should have gotten this position, but you never would have seen it. And Korach didn't see it. As great as Korach was, he didn't see it. And therefore, Tzvi Meyer tells us that when it comes to our own cheshbon and nefesh, right, the way that we relate to our lives, we need to be honest. We need to be brutally honest with ourselves. And sometimes we may need to ask a friend, right, to help us to see outside, a mentor outside of ourselves. Because here in PWI, here in Work Inspired, we have a few taglines. We spoke about when Parshat Shalach is like our banner. We have a tagline. One of our taglines is a teaching. Had the schus to be a couple of times by his kever, right? Shemaya, right? One of the Nesiya Yisrael. Love work, love it. Right? Don't hate it, love it. Right? We spoke in the Beis Medrash program a lot about this. Seeing the Mefarshim, understanding what's being said over here. But love it, love work. So I saw an amazing pshat. It's not coming to me right now. We may have said in the Beis Medrash program who it was. Right? But one of the pshatim brought down, if you look at the second half of the sentence, Snas Rabbanus, hate Rabbanus. Right? If anyone's a Rabban listening to this, what does it mean, Snas Rabbanus? Oibes Malacha Snas Rabbanus. So he says, the tzaddik says an amazing thing, is that when it comes to work, sometimes you may find yourself being in a leadership position. You might be a manager. You may own your own company. Or even if you don't, you may be invited to a conference. Right? You may be invited to a podcast. Somebody wants to hear your opinion. How do you feel about that? What part of your job do you love? So says Shemaiah, do you know what part of the job you should love? Love being of service. Love being of service, wanting to help, wanting to be able to give. Snas Rabbanus. make sure that that part of that job, that part of your work, whatever, if that's your managers every single day, or even if it's not, everyone's, you're in charge of this guy, everyone wants to feel, okay, I'm in charge of that guy, I'm in charge of that guy. I feel a certain level, the fact that I'm in control of someone. Snas harabanas, that part of being the one who's in charge, of being the one that gets to tell people what to do, the one that he can start to feel, I'm important because I'm in charge of other people. Be careful of that. That part of the job, that you don't love. Always make sure that when you're looking at your job, that you're loving the part of being of service. And that, I think, is the walk away from this parsha. Right? As we get to meet another time, another year, Korach, another Korach, that we should think to ourselves, Korach was a good yid. He was a holy person. And he even didn't realize within himself that with all of the L'Shem Shemayim motivation, all of his L'Shem Shemayim motivation, that there was something in there that was off. So each one for us, when we reflect, right, but the end Shabbos is a time of cheshbon and nefesh. How is my week of work? How is my relationships? How did I treat other people? I feel good about my job. Gavaldik, feel good about your week of work. But why do I feel gavaldik? Do I feel good because I was able to help a person? I was able to help a client? Or do I feel good because of the fact, I feel so chashuv. I feel so chashuv because I'm in charge of people. And if that's where you are, okay, be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. That's okay. But from that point, as Hashem, that each one of us could work on ourselves to become better people. Have a good Shabbos.